Catch 'em all.
Hey guys, PokeDan here. So recently, a fellow PokeTuber known as Hoops and Hip Hop made a video ranking all the starter trios in the franchise. And watching this video, I had all sorts of ideas going on in my head, and I really wanted to cover this topic. So, here I am. Starter Pokemon have been handed out to us from different professors since the very first game, and for most of us, they become the main player on the team. Whatever starter Pokemon you do choose, even if other people don't like it, it's still not the wrong decision. We all have our favourites, and take that into mind for this video, because there is no official ranking for the starter trios. It's all in my opinion. And if you disagree or have a different ranking, then be sure to let me know down in the comments section. But with all that being said, let's get started with the video. So before we get into the number 7 choice, I just wanted to say that even though this is the bottom of the list, I don't hate any of these Pokemon, so try not to take it personally. Anyway, the trio that made the bottom of this list are the Universe starters. Snivy, Oshawott and Tepig are all very loved Pokemon within their own rights, but personally, I don't think they look as good as first stage evolutions of other starter Pokemon. In my experience, using the Oshawott evolution line in game was a complete nightmare. At the time of playing Black and White, I started watching the Unova anime, and I really disliked Ash's Oshawott. I've rewatched the anime since and my opinion on this Pokemon has drastically changed, but I can't forget how I felt at the time, and it ruined my first playthrough of the Unova games. I restarted my journey and chose Tepig, and I gotta say, I love this entire evolution line. And as for the other starter, Snivy, I think it's just okay. Servine, not really a fan, but Serperior is a Pokemon that I really like. So none of these Pokemon are really bad, it's just personal experience and the design of the starters that held me back from putting them any higher up on the list. Taking number 6 on this list is actually the Generation 6 starters. I'm talking about Chespin, Froakie and Fennekin. The first stages of these evolution lines are all Pokemon that I really like. Chespin and Froakie look really cool, and Fennekin's pretty cute. But the Fennekin evolution line is what really stopped me putting this starter trio any higher up on this list. You see, even though I like Fennekin, when it evolves, it gets pretty bad in my opinion. Delphox, the final stage, is a Pokemon that I think is aight, but it's my least favourite of the 3 starters. But my big problem when it comes to this fire starter is the middle evolution Braixen. I really dislike this Pokemon's design, and even though all of the Kalos starters have their own theme going on, that just doesn't stop Braixen looking really awkward to me. The evolutions of Chespin and Froakie are superb. I really like Chestnut, and as for Greninja, just like most other people, I love this Pokemon. If it wasn't for Fennekin's evolutions, the Kalos starters would have been much higher up on this list. But this time round, they take the number 6 spot. The starters that just make it into the top 5 for this video are the Alola starter trio. In 2016, when Pokemon Sun and Moon were first revealed, we saw a glimpse of these new starters. Everyone seemed to love these little guys. And so did I, and I still do. Popplio is adorable, Litten looks so cool, and Rowlet, well, he wears a bow tie. Need I say more? There's not a lot that I dislike when it comes to the Alola trio, just one thing. Or should I say one Pokemon, and that is Braixen. Even though I love the other Pokemon in this evolution line, to me, Braixen just looks really off, and I'm not a fan of it. Whenever any new Pokemon gets revealed, it takes time for them to look like they belong in the Pokedex. But I still don't see Braixen like that. Even after seeing it appear in the anime, it still looks really weird to me. I guess I'm just not a fan of its design, but I still prefer it over Braixen. So that's why Alola only just beat Kalos to the number 5 spot. Well, that and Decidueye is one of my favourite Pokemon. It looks really badass, and since I chose it as my starter in both Generation 7 games, I'm clearly a huge fan of this Pokemon. I haven't really spoken about the Litten evolution line, but I also really like these guys, and out of the 3, my favourite has to be Torterra. The Alola starter starter trio are pretty cool in my eyes. And had it not been for one Pokemon, they would have been a bit higher up on the list. Coming in at the number 4 spot, we have the Johto Starters. We're getting to that point of the list where I don't really have anything bad to say about the starter Pokemon. They just end up where they do because of how much I like them. And that's why the Johto Trio come in at number 4. The first evolution stages are all Pokemon I really like. If I had to choose a favourite, it would probably be Cyndaquil. But as I said, I really like the other two. When these Pokemon evolve, they begin to look a little more awkward. But let's be honest, what middle evolution doesn't? Out of all of the middle stages, my favourite has to be Bayleaf. Even though the Chikorita line isn't the most popular, I still really like it. And because of Ash's Bayleaf from the anime, it just makes me like this Pokemon even more. After the second stage of the evolution line, we have the final forms these Pokemon will ever take. And they come in the shapes of Meganium, Feraligatr and Typhlosion. All these Pokemon are fan favourites within their own rights. And the one that I like the most has to be Typhlosion. I mean, I've used it on so many playthroughs, so naturally it's a Pokemon I adore. The Johto Trio are the first on this list to be flawless. And trust me guys, it only gets better. Okay, now we're down to the top 3, and the starters taking this spot are from Kanto. Yes, I'm talking about Bulbasaur, Charmander and Squirtle. These Pokemon were part of the first ever starter trio, and even though they aren't at the number 1 spot on this list, that doesn't mean that I think they're bad at all. I just don't love them as much as the other two trios. When it comes to the first stages of this trio, I think all the Pokemon look great, and it's really tough to choose a favourite, but for me, Squirtle only just takes the lead. For the middle evolutions, I actually like all these Pokemon equally. It's too tough to say which one I prefer, and I just can't do it. Last but not least, we have the final stages of these evolution lines being Venusaur, Charizard and Blastoise. All of these Pokemon are iconic to the franchise, and they have their own fans. But for me, even though I like both Charizard and Venusaur, Blastoise takes the cake. In every game I could choose Squirtle as my starter, I have done so. So obviously Blastoise has been a crucial part of my Pokemon teams. And hopefully when Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee are released in November, I'll be able to surf on the back of this Pokemon. All of the Kanto starters are iconic Pokemon to the franchise. They were the first starter trio, and I gotta say, number 3 is a decent spot for them to be on this list. So the question right now is, what trio do I prefer? Hoenn or Sinnoh? Well, at number 2 on this list we have Hoenn. So we'll talk about the Gen 4 starters in a little bit. Anyway, the Hoenn starter trio in my opinion is really strong design wise. I know a lot of people think Combuskin may look a bit inappropriate, and that Marsh Stomp is the definition of awkward, but personally, I still really like them. And that's mostly because of the Hoenn anime. All 3 Hoenn starters were owned by characters in the anime, and when I was younger, I loved seeing these Pokemon being used in battle. In fact, there's one evolution line in this trio that I adore mostly because of the anime, and that is the Trico line. In Hoenn, Ash used these grass Pokemon on his team, and I remember seeing his Grovyle and just really wanting to use one. So, that's what I did when I got Pokemon Emerald. As well as this evolution line, all the other Pokemon in the Hoenn trio are spot on as well. Blaziken looks amazing, and so does Swampert. So when it comes to choosing a starter in these games, there really is no bad choice. I'm saying this, but of course the Trico, Torchic and Mudkip evolution lines are in at second place in this video. They weren't too far off, but they just about missed the top spot. And finally, coming in at the number 1 spot is Sinnoh, which really isn't much of a surprise, it was the only one left. Anyway, Turtwig, Piplup, Chimchar and their evolutions make up the starter trio for Generation 4. And since they're at the number 1 spot, obviously I think they're awesome. If you guys know me, you'll know that Pokemon Platinum was my first ever Pokemon game. And I've played through Sinnoh so many times, and I've used each starter Pokemon quite a lot too. My favourite Sinnoh starter has to be Chimchar. Well, and its evolutions. If you're like me and love monkeys, this is the perfect starter for you. I've used these Pokemon more times than I can remember in playthroughs. And I know it's good to use different Pokemon now and then, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Empoleon is another starter that I've used countless times, and another that I adore. But with Torterra, even though I've used it in a lot of playthroughs, I don't like it as much as the other two. With the Sinnoh Trio, the pre-evolutions are adorable, as well as the middle stage evolutions, even though Prinplup looks a bit awkward. So to conclude, Sinnoh is awesome, it has incredible starters, and they're my favourite starter trio. But anyway guys, with all that being said, that pretty much wraps things up for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more. Also, be sure to leave a comment telling me your ranked trios. But with all that being said, for now, I've been PokeDan, you've been amazing, and I'll see you guys next time.